Hi, I'm Jen Lafayette, and I welcome you to the mini-series History of Fallout. In episode 1, we will have a closer look at the divergent timelines and the world history of the Fallout universe. And though I will include games from all franchises, I do focus more on Fallout New Vegas because that's the game I'm playing and that's the game I love the most. So let's start, shall we? The timelines begin to diverge in 1945, just after World War II ended. The transistor is not discovered in 1947. Instead, science focused on fusion power, and the nation's esteemed eggheads developed compact nuclear power generators and a miniaturized form of nuclear fission. Advanced robotics, cybernetics, and genetic engineering made incredible strides and brought new creatures, domestic and military robots, and more advanced armor and weaponry. One of these technological marvels is the power armor, which brought warfare to an entirely new level. To mitigate the threat that communism poses to them, America adopted a new system of 13 commonwealths instead of the traditional 50 states. This change came sometime in the 1960s. On this slide, you can see how the commonwealths are divided up. China did not adopt any free market reforms in the 1970s and retains the structure it had under Chairman Mao Zedong. The Soviet Empire does not collapse in the early 90s and stays a constant threat. Despite all this, the first major international conflicts don't creep up until the mid-21st century. In 2052, the Texas oil fields run dry, while the oil-rich Middle East raises prices, causing many smaller nations to collapse. The European Commonwealth responds with military force, starting the Resource Wars. The already weakened United Nations try to intervene and defuse the situation, to which many members respond by withdrawing. The UN disbands that year. A year later, in 2053, a disease known as the New Plague devastates the United States, leaving 200,000 dead in its wake. The crisis caused the US to close its international borders and would eventually lead to the discovery of the FEV, the Forced Evolutionary Virus. Nuclear fear grips the nation when Tel Aviv is wiped off the map by a terrorist strike. The fear deepens in the following year as warring nations trade nuclear airstrikes in the Middle East. Fueled by this fear, Project Safehouse is initiated. Numerous underground vaults are built to keep the population safe in case of a nuclear strike or new epidemic. These vaults, sold to the public as safety measure, were, in reality, a large-scale social experiment. Scientists wanted to test people's reactions to being confined in a small space and exposed to stressors such as access to an excessive amount of firearms, exposure to radiation, or psychedelic drugs in the air filtration system. Hard to see how that could go wrong, eh? When the Middle Eastern oil fields run dry, the resource wars shift to the other side of the world. China, its own resources nearly depleted, invades Alaska. America retaliates and creates the Anchorage Front Line to protect the oil fields of the Snow State. Relations between Canada and the States become increasingly strained as America ups its military presence and helps itself to the country's resources, despite sharp protest. While the European Commonwealth falls to anarchy, the US military fails to dislodge the Chinese despite their superior power armor giving them an edge. After a 4-year military campaign, Canada is annexed by the United States in 2076, and thanks to the newly deployed T-51B power armor, America reclaims Alaska early in the year 2077. Foreseeing a nuclear strike, those in positions of power prepare as best they can. The president and the shadow government, known as the Enclave, hide themselves away on a Pacific oil rig, about 200 miles off the coast of California, where they'd be safe from the radiation following a fallout. Robert House, founder of Robco Industries, puts himself into stasis in his hometown of Las Vegas, Nevada. To preserve himself for a future he was sure to come. The American population heard too many false alarms before, and many foolishly ignored the warning sirens when the vault sealed shut. On October 23, 2077, the world ended. Nobody knows who struck first, but after 2 devastating hours, the world had been burned, the survivors locked in the darkness of their vaults. Many believed it to be the end of civilization, of humanity. But humans, resilient creatures they are, emerged from the darkness, and with blood, hope, and determination, they rebuilt. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of our mini-series. If you did, please leave me a like, tell me in the comments what you took from it, and subscribe because the next installment will focus on the creatures and critters of the wasteland. I hope to see you all next time, and until then, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye!